he was somebody that never treated me like a stepkid, like fully in my corner, fully, you know, showing me, telling me that he loved me. And even more importantly, like his actions reflected that he loved me for real. And even more importantly, like loved my mom and loved our family and was willing to do whatever he had to do to really, progress our family and really like be there for us. And that relationship is everything. It's the reason I am the man that I am today. He showed me how to be a man and how you move and how you take care of your family and how you really take care of business, do what you're supposed to do. Everything that a kid, that a young man's supposed to know how to do. How to tie your tie, how to, put on dress clothes, how to
For
iron your
sure.
clothes,
Mm-hmm.
how to take care of your mama, how to, do yard work.
Stay low key, niggas stalk what I do. When I buy that shit, you know I cop it in two. These bitches be nosy just like Nancy Drew. When I'm with my gang, baby, we can never lose. She wanna be my one, but I'm gon' pull up with two. Searching for the answer, shawty, I ain't got a clue.
Welcome back to the Mike on Mike podcast, where we dive into real stories, real journeys, and we get different perspectives. Where we sit down with people of all different walks of life and get their experiences, challenges, and lessons. Success or struggle, there's always a story. Today, I'm here with not only a friend but family, Gerard Brownship, my brother. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate you taking the time to come with us.
Oh, of course, man. It is my absolute pleasure to be here, man.
No, most definitely. But so you've been through a lot of transitions, a whole lot of different schools, different cities, had a lot of different opportunities.
Ooh.
I want to go into your move right before high school. Let's get right into it.
Yes, bro. So I went to, I want to say, I went to elementary school and from about fourth, fifth grade in the same area, did sixth and seventh grade in the same area. And then I moved to where we currently live at in eighth grade. And I kind of speak on that transition. I feel like any kid that young, like, man, what? I am mad.
I'd be
I'm
mad.
mad. I'm feeling like I got all my friends in the world. I know my little neighborhood like the
Mm-hmm.
back of my hand. You
Not
telling
for
me,
sure. You got the lunch table together
you
already.
you feel me? You telling me we gotta move? And kind of the crazy part about it is that so we had our house built, and that was like at the end of my seventh grade year. So like in towards like the end of seventh grade, like I moved to a whole different place, and for the whole rest of the end of the year, my aunt would take me to school like early in the morning, like
Right.
from here all the way to over there, like every morning. And then when the school year was over with, I was just so blue because I know nobody, but I'm living out here during the summertime. Like
Right.
I don't got no friends. Ain't nobody driving. I don't got
Right.
no
Exactly.
friends. So every day, I'm just going out on my bike, just riding around,
Right.
seeing the
Trying to find
neighborhood,
people.
seeing who I see and whatnot. And that used to be frustrating at first, cause like I'm bored. I can't just tell my parents, "Hey, drop me off over here and there." My parents got jobs, they
Right.
be
No, for
gone and
sure.
whatnot. Like, ain't nobody finna come get you from 20
Right.
and 30 minutes
Exactly.
away, then gotta come back and get you and whatnot. So I would say at first it was frustrating, but at the same time, looking at like a lot of things in my life, it was a blessing in disguise hugely. And kind of what I was speaking on, like just riding my bike around, seeing who I see. It's actually how I met your little brother. Is
For real.
dude, literally that summer I was driving around and up at the clubhouse, I see like these two kids playing basketball. I'm like, oh, finally, like I've been coming up to this court just shooting by myself. I finally
Right.
see somebody. And yeah, for y'all that don't know, like his brother's like not no small kid. So I see a person that's like around my height, if not like, a little bit taller at the time, then like kid a little bit smaller. So I'm like, okay, like they can be able to play something. So I started playing basketball and I'm just like watching them. and,
Okay.
and then I found out they like 3 years younger than me. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah, that's
like
why.
okay, it makes sense. Okay.
Oh, bro.
but yeah, man, it was tough at first, but when we got into the school year, I actually felt like I liked to be the new kid, when you're a new kid, you know, all the girls is like, oh, who is he? Like, you
Oh,
know,
facts.
you the new mysterious dude and whatnot. And even from like the sports perspective, grew up playing basketball all my life, so coming to school in 8th grade, you know, nobody knows me, especially like coaches and whatnot, and even like the other players. Like, and basketball season's early in the school year, so
For
we
sure.
going to tryouts, and everybody that I'm kind of making an impact on is because of basketball, because I'm either, you know, beating them out or like, you know,
That
they
was
might,
me.
I'm beating them out
That was definitely me.
or they, you know, like my new teammates and whatnot. So from right there, I had like friends that I'm like really seeing on a daily. I was able to connect with people well, and I was able to, I wouldn't even say like reinvent myself, but just the old stuff that's attached to you, what people know about you. That's all a clean slate, and I would say that was amazing for me. And in a way, it gave me multiple friend groups as well. Like I still had, you know, all my day one friends from like the other side. I would still see them, and they play sports as well. So
No,
you
for
know,
sure.
when it comes to playing AU, I'm still seeing them. We still
Right.
like hang out.
Right. Y'all still on the same teams and everything
You
like
know,
that.
So it gave me friends everywhere, and it gave me a lot of just camaraderie in a lot of areas. So no, all in all, it sucked at first, but it was definitely a huge blessing in disguise.
No, for sure. That's glad. I'm glad to hear that. But
Yeah,
so not only you moved, but it was the rest of your family. And you come from a pretty big family. You have two
yeah,
older. How many older brothers? How many siblings? It's a lot of you guys.
yeah. So directly like grew up in my household. I grew up with two older brothers, but I have three brothers that older brothers that I'm related to by blood,
Okay.
and then I have two stepsisters.
Okay.
All older than me. I'm younger than everybody.
Okay. What's the gap's pretty? What's the
Yeah,
oldest to youngest gap?
yeah. So pretty big gaps. Closest brother in age to me is my brother John. He's 10 years older than me, and then you got my brother Mark. He's 15 years older than me, and then I have another brother. His name is DJ, and I'm not even exactly sure how he is, but he's in between my brother John and Mark.
Okay.
And then I got two older sisters from my step pops. Um One of them is like 40. Then the other one is like in her mid 30s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, for sure. So you mentioned
Yeah.
your step pops. So you
Yeah.
lost your pops at an early age. If you don't mind, could you share that experience and how that experience, I mean, how that affected you at a young age? Because a lot of us have not experienced losing a parent.
Yeah. Yeah, I could speak on a couple perspectives. Especially when it first happened, so I lost my father in the summer of 2005. So I was only about 4 years old when I lost him. And it took me a couple of years to really understand that, like, you know, he was gone. He's really not coming back. Like,
Right.
grasping the concept of death when you know you're that small, like when you're that young, is it's pretty hard. Actually talking to my mom, like, people would ask me like about my father, and I'd be like my mommy said he's gone to heaven, but I don't know when he's coming back.
Right.
Like that, like that would always be my response. And yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, like I said, that happened at 4. It wasn't really till I was in like kindergarten and first grade. I was really realizing that like he is gone. He really is not coming back.
Mm,
And in a way, that kind of made me like dread getting older, because I thought like, oh, people die just because they get older. Like, you know, you don't think about like the
right.
circumstances
For
of like
sure.
why people die at
Right.
younger and
Especially
whatnot.
at a young age, you're not
Yeah.
thinking about it like that.
So like I was instantly just like always like afraid. I really like holding my family close. Like my mom would go away, like that would give me like a lot of anxiety and whatnot. Like, cause I'm thinking of everything in life or death terms. Like there's no, you know, people just go
Right.
away and they come back. Like I'm thinking if you leave, like you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say early on that gave me a true appreciation for life, and from an early age I understood how fragile life could really be.
No,
Yeah,
100%. So pivoting to that, speak
yeah,
about your relationship with your step pops, because I've known you since 8th grade, freshman year, whenever we started kicking it for
yeah,
real. I had no idea I had no idea that was your step pops. I thought it was your pops. So you just want to talk about your relationship with your step pops and how he
Yeah,
impacted your life so far?
yeah, and that's funny because that's the case for most people. Most people that know me, they know, cause I don't even call my pops like my step pops. Like that's my pops through and through,
No, 100%.
through and through. And yeah, like most people don't even know that like he's not, my blood father. But
Mm-hmm.
that relationship was another just huge blessing from the Lord because I'm gonna say he came into my life when I was probably 9 or 10,
Okay.
and just from day one, he was somebody that never treated me like a stepkid, like fully in my corner, fully, you know, showing me, telling me that he loved me. And even more importantly, like his actions reflected that he loved me for real. And even more importantly, like loved my mom and loved our family and was willing to do whatever he had to do to really, progress our family and really like be there for us. And that relationship is everything. It's the reason I am the man that I am today. He showed me how to be a man and how you move and how you take care of your family and how you really take care of business, do what you're supposed to do. Everything that a kid, that a young man's supposed to know how to do. How to tie your tie, how to, put on dress clothes, how to
For
iron your
sure.
clothes,
Mm-hmm.
how to take care of your mama, how to, do yard work, how to cut the grass,
Right.
like literally everything. There was never a beat that we missed. Like he was really the one that really introduced me to basketball. My first love was football for real. But he the one that would, spend time day in and day out in the gym with me, going through drills, take me from practice to
No.
practice,
Mm-hmm.
ask me did I want to be a part of X, Y, and Z. So yeah, he was everything. Only thing that we don't share is blood. And when it comes to family, people got family members that they, blood related to through and through, and they don't got that type of relationship.
Facts.
Yeah,
No, that's good to hear, man. Your
yeah,
pops is like really like an amazing dude. Like he always makes me laugh, and I know if I needed someplace to stay, I could go to y'all. And yeah, your pops is real. Your mom too. Let's talk about your mama because I know
yeah,
you came from a strong two-parent household. So let's
yeah.
can't forget about your moms.
And my mama, she a real matriarch, real boss of the family. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like whatever she say go for real, and whatever she don't want to go is not going. Like,
I understand how that is.
you feel me? But my mama is everything to me. Like, she is someone that has been in every part of life. Like when I say every part of life, I mean the highs and the lows and whatnot. She is the one that truly showed me like what it really means to love, your sisters and brothers and people that's coming up under you and whatnot. People that's coming up under you and whatnot. Um, and my mom, I would say, is just as influential in my life as my pops. Like I would say, my mom was the one who talked to me about like women even more so than my pops and the type of women that you want. And I would say with her, she used her life as kind of warnings and lessons to me. She was somebody from day one that was open and honest about her failures and where she didn't fell short and whatnot. Like my
Right.
mama is yeah, my mom is everything, man.
No, that's good, man. Like, and your mama too. Like, they're literally some of the best people that you could ever meet, and I'm glad that they're a part of my life as well. So it's great to hear that you've been raised up right, and everybody can see that.
Oh yeah.
So you mentioned to me that at a young age you talked about your pops introducing you to X, Y, and Z, and I know your mom did as well. But you were enrolled in programs that taught you how to apply for aid for college, took you guys on college visits and stuff like that. You and Hakeem, you told me you guys been in on those. So you
Yeah.
just want to talk about those experiences and how they shaped your mindset and how they developed you.
Yeah, that's another testament to. And let me speak further. Also, when I say like her failure in a place where she fell short, I do have brothers that were much older than me. So, in ways that she identified where she felt like she fell short with them, or maybe she would have did X, Y, or Z that would have benefited them like later on in her life. She tried to do that for me. Like neither one of my parents like graduated from college or anything like that, but my mother just, and mind you, my mom became a phlebotomist and took college classes and got an associate's when she was in her 30s. Like I used to sit outside her classroom and whatnot
Right.
and do my homework, like, you know, while she's in class.
Right.
So from that, she really learned how important exposure is for young kids. And her whole thing with me is she was behind fully supporting whatever I wanted to do. She just wanted to make sure that I had early exposure to a lot of things and I was able to make an informed decision. And so programs like, you know, STEM programs with Nesby Jr. and whatnot, and at Fermilab. And Fermilab, for y'all don't know, it's like this big like research institute where they do like 1,000,001 things. I'm not even sure all of what they do. Like some of that stuff is highly classified, like government stuff. But programs like that were so instrumental. Like it gave me through and through unfiltered, you know, what working in this field is gonna be like, what studying certain one of these things is gonna be like, and that was everything. Speaking of Hakeem, that's kind of where I met one of our boys, Hakeem, and he was like one of the smartest kids I ever met.
Facts.
So it also gave you an idea of like what your standards should truly be. Like this is what kids that really take life serious and really plan to have a future. This is what they're looking at. This is what they're thinking about. And so all those things rubbed off on me into who I am. And then later on, when I was in high school, they started doing college tours. And that was my big intro to what college would be like, how much it costs.
Facts. Facts. A pretty penny.
Well, what it take as far as, you know, like GPA requirements, what it's like to even go through applying for college and whatnot, and how to go about that in a smart and informed way. And that was everything because we used to go down to these campuses. We would spend, you know, 3 days in this dorm, then move on to another college, and move on to another college. And at each of these places, we were able to talk to students and get a real account of, like, man, like, what is your day to day? Like, what do
Right.
you like about this specific
for
school?
sure.
What don't you like about this specific school? Like, what would you change? Like, what is advice about coming into college? So, a lot of those things just made it so much easier for me to make my decision and just the type of person that I was, what I knew that I would need from a school.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, for sure. So would you say that those programs like helped you prepare for the challenges that you faced in college?
I would say for sure. It definitely did. Like one thing is people told me right away is that depending on class size and whatnot at your school, like what do they call like the early bird like application? Like you want to be in the early applications.
I forgot what it's called,
I,
but like
I
pre-registration or
yeah,
it's like because you can there's like the regular class registration and then there's like sometimes you can get in before that if you like talk to your advisor or whatever.
exactly, registration. I'm talking about even like applications to the college. There's like an early bird.
Oh yeah, early bird applications or whatever.
Like even how important that was to being first to getting, you know, money and whatnot, like from the schools, like it had me already ready for that type of ball game, already, you know, what to expect.
Right.
You know. And even we did like early interviews, you know, they call them like elevator pitches and whatnot.
Okay.
Like getting ready to talk about like what I'm about, like what I'm interested in, and be able to articulate things in an intelligent way.
Okay.
You know, elevating your level of speech and whatnot.
So who were those interviews with per se?
Yeah, so we would do it like different like representatives. Like my first kind of experience was this organization called Boys to Men,
Okay.
which is led by Mr. Clayton Muhammad over in downtown Aurora.
Okay.
Them and he was an alpha man, and a lot of the people we used to work with were alphas. Even what Mayor Pryor of Aurora. Prior to him becoming mayor, I saw him there like way before. So, you know, speaking of people like that who are trailblazers in the community, and you talk to them, they're like, hey, young man, this is how you should talk about X, Y, and Z. Getting to talk to them about, like, they would ask, what are you about? What do you think is important? You would tell them, they were like, they wouldn't change, like, the essence of what you were saying, but how to articulate it better.
Okay.
How you speak to people,
Right.
how you shake a man's hand, how you connect with people and whatnot.
Right. Stuff that young boys need to learn.
You feel me? That was like my first thing, and then doing Nesby Jr. with Mr. Cortez Watkins and Miss Julia. They would have a lot of different people, come to us, come speak to us. And speaking of them, you just, as you keep getting older and you keep, speaking to these different people who are, trailblazers in their respective industries and whatnot that have done a lot of good work here or there, you just get more comfortable in talking about yourself, talking about what you're about, talking about what's important to you.
Nah, for sure. We
Yeah.
having some technical difficulties right now.
Oh, good, buddy.
Nah, but we'll worry about that later. So moving on to your early adulthood, you chose to go the community college route, even though you were going to
Yeah.
all those campuses and
Yeah.
seeing your way around the country. You chose to go to the community college route. Why did you end up going the community college route? Like,
Because looking back on it, I was just extremely, extremely indecisive about the route I wanted to go as far as my studies and what I really wanted my career to look like. Because I had a lot of interest in a lot of different places. Like, STEM things were cool to me. Like, I thought the information was important, but I never really saw myself as really like a scientist or an engineer. Like, I always enjoyed working with those people, learning from those people, seeing how, like, they, get to contribute to society. But just in my heart, like, it never, like, connected me in that way where I'm like, yeah, I can see myself being, a civil engineer.
or a mathematician.
Something like that. And even, like, my senior year high school, I was taking, like, medical class and whatnot. I was thinking about going, like, a medical route. And
Right. Your mom's a phlebotomist, so yeah, being in
Yeah.
that field definitely something you had interest in for sure.
then I was like, oh, maybe, like, man, RN would be, like, a cool route. Then my mom told me, they were like, yeah, like, you gonna have to, wipe some people's butts and da-da-da. I was like, I'm like, I
You ain't touching no boo boo.
I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that one. So let alone not really having, like, a solid direction as far as what I wanted to study. I'm like, let me go, like, the community college route. Let me, go save some money. Let me go, just take some more classes, and then I could choose a route without wasting a lot of money. That's kind of how I had it. I had it in my head. So, and then also, I was just indecisive. I'm like, I kind of like business. Or let me backtrack on that. I also took a couple of, like, business focused classes in high school.
Okay.
And just due to under enrollment into some of the classes, I wasn't able to take the higher level out of the business classes. So I'm like, but I was always, like, really good at those classes. Those classes were always really insightful to me because talking to a lot of teachers and whatnot who teach business, they have their own endeavors. And that used to always be something I could really see myself benefiting from. And just something that gave you a lot more earning potential than, other things that I was
Right.
seeing.
No, for sure.
So, yeah, that was really my reason for going to community college route. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you transitioned from community college to Morehouse College
Yes,
in
sir.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes, sir.
That's a big jump. It's almost 12 hours away from home.
Yes, sir.
Who or what influenced you to go to a school that far away from home?
Yeah. I would say the first person who really put that into my ear was one of my best friends I grew up with, Zachariah Smith, my guy. So Zach was always a guy, his father was an agent, his mother was a professor. He was the type of kid. He was, like, class president for, like, 2-3 years in a row in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So he always had like, obvious like high achievement track. Like, I'm going to college. I'm going to go, do X, Y, and
Right.
Z. So, and I always kept up with him, like, let him know what's going on. I'm like, hey, man, like, I'm taking these business classes. I'm doing this and that. He like, bro, like, why don't you, check out Morehouse College and whatnot? Like, bro, like, I feel like you could do good down here. And, he set up, like, when you talk to your homies, like, you feel
Right.
like, of course, he going to tell you,
Or
like, you
everybody
could,
gas up their own school.
yeah, of course, he going to tell you, like, it's all this and that, and, like, and you could, like, do X, Y, and Z. So, I'm like, but, you know, like a couple weeks had passed, but it was still like in my head. I'm like, hey, let me actually do some real research into this school and
Mm-hmm.
what's going on. And just researching school, you learn about the pedigree of alumni that come from school. You have the ultra famous people who come from school. Like, for example, you got like Martin Luther King went to the school and graduated. Samuel L. Jackson is a graduate of the school. Spike Lee is a graduate of the school. And that's just
Some
a huge
right.
famous of, but you have all these people and all these spheres of influence. Like, you're talking about people that became lawyers and started their own, law firms and whatnot. You have doctors, countless doctors who started their own practices, independent practices. We've put out mayors of cities. We've put out presidents of other colleges.
Right.
We've put out a million
Senators.
senators, a
Mm-hmm.
million. Shout out Reverend Warnock.
Yeah, for
But
real.
we didn't put out just all these people in all these different places, and more so not just like the clout of the things they've achieved, but what they were able to give back, what they mean to their community, how much they care about their community, how much they pay things forward to the younger generation, and that was something that just kind of like reading and studying. I'm like, that's something that I want to be a part of. That I want to spend my time. That I want to, hopefully, in some way I could emulate that and be something like that.
No, for sure.
And it did help that I did look up a stat that said like a very very high percentage of business majors leave that school with a job. So
That definitely helps. No,
so
for sure.
just with all those things coming in, that's kind of how I made my decision. I want to go down to Morehouse, and also I had in my head that, like, originally I'm from Chicago, so I like metros, I like
Mm-hmm.
cities. I feel safer in metros and whatnot. So I'm like, I don't really want to go to no school out in the boondocks.
I feel
And
that.
I'm kind of want like a change up from home. So I'm like, and also have like family friends that lived in the outskirts of Atlanta. So I'm like, Atlanta wouldn't be that bad. It's a big city, a lot of new people. And I still got a back end down there, like.
Right, right.
So that's
Auntie or a cousin you could fall back on if things
exactly,
go take a turn.
exactly. So kind of all those things led me to really, making that decision to go to Morehouse.
Nah, for sure. It was a great decision because I can tell you had a ball. I had one when I came to visit my few times.
Oh, yes, sir.
But take us through the transition academically between community college and Morehouse. Would you say that it was your academics were taken more serious at Morehouse with the higher level class? Obviously, you're in higher level classes, but there's a difference between education in schools. I transferred schools. I think I got a better education at the private university that I was at rather than the public university. So, what do you think the difference was for you?
Yeah. I would say, well, at community college is kind of a difference because I knocked out a lot of my general education classes. And what Bonds Community College is a really higher rated community college. Like, just kind of speak about like the pedigree of their classes. I think out of like the 35 credits that I had like from a Bonds or something like that, 31 of those transferred to Morehouse,
Oh, okay.
which is like
That's
really unheard of
beautiful.
for a lot of people transferring. So that show you like the level that the community college is at was great. Or I say the biggest difference would be in those higher level classes when you take in classes like entrepreneurship and financial statement analysis. Just because the biggest difference would be in the professors and the lives that they've
Right.
lived and whatnot.
Hmm.
That's where you get the real difference because you get a real account, especially from, you know, black men that have been in highly scrutinized industries that are able to come and tell you like, hey, this is what it's really like. This is what it really takes to be successful. That is the real difference between me being at Wabanzi or any other college versus being at Morehouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, for sure. So when you went down to Morehouse, that was your first time away from home, and you
Yeah.
had to deal with that dorm living for a year. To
Yeah, yeah.
talk about your housing experience and how that and just how that affected you in your first year and how that you had to deal with what most college students go through in the dorms.
Yeah, dorm living, man. Dorm living, I do not miss it at all. Especially because my dorm living, we had communal bathrooms and like communal showers.
Yeah, nah, I can't go
So,
for that.
so just think about it like you up early in the morning trying to brush your teeth, while somebody else is in the bathroom in the morning taking their morning deuce, and then you got people in the showers at the same time making it hot. So it smelled like hot number twos in the bathroom while you trying to brush your teeth.
Yeah, yeah, nah.
You get what I'm saying?
I don't get what you're saying. I don't get what you're saying
Like,
at all.
but in the same way, like I feel like that's something that you should definitely go through if going to college, at least for 1 or 2 years.
No, for sure.
Um, but yeah, that's where I met a lot of my best friends. That's where I met one of my best friends in life. Being my college roommate for all the years that I was down at Morehouse, and that's where you get a lot of camaraderie and stuff like that. Cause there's situations that happen. There are life things that happen that everybody got to go through together,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how you build real community. Like people that I knew became lifelong friends off living in a freshman dorm together and just knowing
Right.
each other and having to go through things you go through on your matriculation through school. So
Nah, for
yeah,
sure.
would I do it
Um,
again? No, but am I grateful that I went through it? Yeah, for sure.
nah, for sure. So your next year, you ended up living downtown. Talk about that experience and commuting from downtown Atlanta to your college campus.
Yeah, no, that was amazing. So I lived in Midtown Atlanta, literally right on Northside Drive. And Northside Drive is a main road that goes through Atlanta. And Morehouse College is located on in on the west side of the city. So as far as the commute was easy. Like it's probably at most 15 to 20 minutes with traffic. And Northside Drive also goes past the Mercedes Benz stadiums.
Sure
And there's
does.
also like a few other like conference halls and hotels out that side. So if you have an event going on, is gonna be busy. That
That
was only like that was really the only tough thing, but it was amazing. When you live off campus like that, it forces you to kind of explore the city. It forces you to just really learn about your environment, especially. And I was a kid, like I just would go out and just walk around. Especially because where I lived at was also right next to Georgia Tech campus.
hmm
So in my housing, like I'm meeting kids that live from all over the place, from all types of walks in life. Even more so different than all the kids that I go to school with at my
Right.
HBCU. So yeah, it was an amazing experience. I was living it up for real. And I was down there in a time where they're still continuing to heavily build up that area. Every time I go back, there's a new apartment. There's a new, you know, structure that has, a million different restaurants in it
hmm
and whatnot.
Nah, for sure. So, while you were down at school, did you ever deal with any doubt? Like, because it's you dealt with a hard major. It wasn't easy. Finance is not a easy thing to go through. How are you able to push through all that?
Yeah, um, that that was definitely hard in a way that, yeah, doubt did come. Cause also speaking on Morehouse pedigree, like you have what we call like some legacy students, to where their parents are extremely, extremely high achievers, and they've had their great grandfather come through school, their grandfather come to school, their their fathers to come through the school, and all of them are already at the top of their respective industries and whatnot. So you got kids that come in here with a wildly different understanding, in-depth understanding of like our course material. You know, they kind of give some of these kids were able to give just as much insight or like near as much insight as some of our professors and kind of compare experiences and really have already been exposed to a lot of work that we're doing.
No, for sure.
And you know, like when you're new to a place, you want to feel like that, you know, that you're up to par.
No,
And
facts.
just everybody comes at different growth stages. So I would say that concept took me a while to get to. And it really just came from the type of person I am. I had a vision for myself. I felt like that, hey, I'm capable of learning anything, anything that you put in front of me. If I put the work in, I could, you know, become good at it. I could be successful in it. So that was kind of my attitude when it came to doubt.
No, for sure. That's a good attitude to have. I
Yeah,
mean, everybody starts at a different point, realistically, and that's something that really comes to eye when you get to college. Like everybody comes from all different walks of life. Like some people's pops is lawyers, some people's pops is plumbers.
yeah,
So like you never know. So people start at different points, and you really can't compare yourself to others because that's really puts you in a down state mentally at the end of the day.
yeah, bro.
But so speaking about Morehouse, they're known for their community and like just leadership and bringing out strong individuals.
Yeah,
What is your biggest takeaway that you got while your time from your time at Morehouse?
yeah. My biggest takeaway from Morehouse would just be, especially in this day and age, like you are more than capable. You have more than enough tools, and you are just all in all, like mentally, physically, intellectually, on par with people that we look up to, people that we think are the best of whatever they have, and yeah, just it's really the standard. You know, if you don't like, how do I put this into words? Um, they teach you to really shoot for the stars, and wherever things fall is gonna be much farther than the next man. You gotta realize, like, a lot of people, you think the whole world is like trying to be the highest achievers, trying to be X, Y, and Z, but truly it's not. Like, you seen who we didn't went to school with, you seen where the results of of our peers and where they are versus even us just going for something, you know, larger. And that's really what Morehouse presses on you, is to really raise your standards in all things. Raise your standards in, you know, your self preparation, in the way that you dress, in the way that you groom yourself, in the way that you speak. Give you a different standard as far as the work that you put out, what you put your name on, how important your name is, how important it is to present yourself in certain ways. And I feel like one of the most important things was to reach back into your community. As you progress in life, you know, you don't want to progress just to look down on others. You want to progress because you want to bring up people that are around you.
Facts.
Like, that's even something I want to start doing a better job of, is like going back into a lot of these programs that I was in. It really puts on to you that civil duty at a
Hmm.
young age, because you are directly responsible for the type of community that you live in, the the type of contributions you make to your community. I'm not even talking about as far as money. I'm talking about as far as
Time, honestly.
time, um, sharing knowledge, helping kids out with resumes and simple things like that.
Hmm.
Like, it really makes you realize, like, hey, this is up to you, and yes, this is on you.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
So as far as community and reaching out and reaching back to people, was there a specific mentor or professor that really touched you and helped you and your group of friends down at Morehouse as far as you guys' perspective in life or in business in general?
yeah. Um, I got a couple people in mind, a couple different ways. In my first semester, I had a teacher named Michael C. Manga, and he taught Black Studies.
Okay.
And you know, you could kind of have an idea of, like, oh, like what Black Studies, you know, will be about and whatnot.
Hmm.
But in that class, you more so learn about systems, and how certain systems are put in place to either make you think you only have certain potential to do X, Y, and Z, and to directly make you feel like that only this or that is possible. it wasn't just learning about like, oh, like black people went through these struggles, black people had this disadvantage, black people had this and that. We more so learned about the things that weren't a lot of times highlighted is that, oh, like black people trailblazed this and were able to do X, Y, and Z. And that got lost in this because of, these systems, whether it's just history being told or whether it's just, certain things being eradicated. And he was the one that really helped just emphasize that civic duty. Like, this is why it's important to be a man of your community and to know what's going on in your local government and to know what's going on in, local law and whatnot and how you should vote in X, Y, and Z and how you even think about voting to make your own informed decision, not just be, a headline reader and then, okay, make a decision based off
Right.
that.
No, for sure. About doing your own research.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
No. So would you say most of your professors, because at Illinois State, I went to Illinois State for you guys, if you guys didn't know, we did not have any professors doing any talk like that. Or we weren't talking about systems. We weren't talking about, how to build ourselves up and, give back to the community. We were a little bit, but not in the capacity that you're saying. So would you say that all of your professors possessed the same not the same mindset, but a similar mindset?
Definitely a similar mindset. But the way that they enacted that was much different. Like, and I was kind of gonna get to that. Yeah, Michael C. Michael when it came to like self duty and civic duty on that part. But when it came to like professional stuff, I had another professor called James Young. Not called James Young, named James Young.
You're good.
But he taught my financial statement analysis class. And that class was more than just obviously what it's called, like, learning how to, analyze financial statements and how, financial statements flow together and whatnot. We would have speakers all the time. Like, I'm talking about, we had the CFO of Delta come in and talk to us about X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
We had, like, people that were managing directors of bank groups. We had people that had bought and sold a lot of real estate and things like that. Like, we had people from all walks of life come in and talk to us about, this is what it takes and this is what the standard is. Like, you're getting that real through and through. Like, this is what the standard is and this is like what it takes to get here. And it wasn't just like, oh, look at me, like this is what y'all gotta amount to. It was that, like, y'all are doing good. Like, y'all are
on track.
You feel me? You keep on this path. You keep making sure you got X, Y, and Z taken care of. Like, y'all can have what y'all want out of this life, let alone just professionally and as in a career. And then, but he kind of he ran his stuff more like a boot camp. Like, he gave a lot of tough love in the way that he felt like he wasn't gonna be more dedicated to your life than you are to your own.
Right.
Like,
No.
like he felt like, you kind of didn't care or you were kind of like passive about certain things. He wasn't shy about letting you know, like, this is where you need to be.
Right.
Like,
some people need that.
You doing X, Y, and Z, and I was one of those people. I felt like he misunderstood me a little bit, just a little bit, because he didn't realize like where I was kind of coming from and like, hey, bro, like this is only my second semester here. Like, everybody else that's been studying and finance and been knowing they want to do this since they were like,
18.
13. I mean, you're talking about younger. Like, bro, we got kids that were doing business pitch competitions in high school. Like, that's
what Hakeem was doing.
Like, you get me? Like,
and Zach too.
Yeah, exactly. So so I had a lot of catching up to do in that way. And yeah, it was more like it was basically like a finance boot camp. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
Like, and I was just determined that, hey, like, you weren't gonna be right about me being like nonchalant about this or like not caring as much as like.
Right. You was you had to prove him wrong.
Yeah, as I appear to, and I would say it was great for me in that way because you really get to see what you're made of. Like, hey, can you take the pressure of this and can you still perform and do well X, Y, and Z? And I was able to. Like, I done had a conversation, like, this has been like years past, but like, I done had conversations with him over the years and whatnot, and like what I do now, he has certain relationships with older coworkers that I have. So I do
Okay.
see him like every now and then, especially like when I go back down to Morehouse. Like he'll come to Chicago because he's originally from Chicago.
Okay. All right.
So like I've seen him like in passing a lot of times, had conversations with me, and he told me like how proud he is of me and like how I came a long way and whatnot. So
Well, facts, you ain't the same 20-year-old who was on campus.
exactly, and third, I had I had a real estate professor, and he was an adjunct professor. At the same time he was teaching us, he was the leader of the real estate group at a Chase Bank in Atlanta. Yeah,
The corporate bank in Atlanta.
yeah. So like commercial real estate in Atlanta, he was the head of while being our adjunct professor, while managing his own specific real estate endeavors and whatnot. And he like on the real estate side would have a lot of large developers of companies we've heard of come down and talk to us about how you evaluate an area, how specifically just everything it is real estate, like what is the actual real applicable things. So just all in all, constantly getting professors that have done the work, and then having more examples than just them of all these people that have been there and did that. I even at the time when Twitter was being bought, we had somebody that was like uh that had worked for Twitter at the time, was like
Okay.
the leader of the team, and was there during that transition with like Elon taking over and whatnot.
Him
Like,
firing all them people and all that.
you get what I'm saying? So
Uh-huh.
having somebody to tell you what it's like to get bought and have all this change and what's really going on and how cutthroat like corporate world can really be,
Mm-hmm.
like, it really give you that food for thought. Like, am I really like built for this? Is something I really want to subject myself to?
Yeah, fact. It's tough out here.
Yeah. So no,
It's
like,
tough out here. So yeah, you had a lot of good
yeah,
mentors
yeah.
while you were down there. You ended up getting a banking
Yes,
internship.
sir.
What was the process of getting that internship like? Was it rigorous? Like what was it? Was it easy? Break that down for us, please.
Um, I would say that, and once again, like me coming to my house as a junior, like you had kids that were doing like top of the line internships, like going into college,
Right.
freshman year going into sophomore year going into junior. So
Hmm.
like, kind of when it came to like internships in my field, I was kind of like late to the punch in that way. So how I even got introduced to it was actually shout out Zach again. So
Shout out Zach, man.
So Zach had done like an internship like with the institution that I was trying to seek out an internship with, and he was like moving on to something else, and he was like, hey man, like, hey, this company is gonna be like in our cafeteria at like 7, bro. Like I think just go down there, like see who you meet, like so
Right.
see what it is. So I'm like, all right, like I put my little like 2-piece, suit on and whatnot, go down there, listen to a couple people talk. And there was a man, who was the VP of a certain group down in Chicago, from Chicago. That's where I planned on working. I'm like, okay, like he's somebody I should talk to. So I kind of just talked to him, like tell him like where I'm from, like what my experience has been, like, you know, what my outlook is, like what I'm interested in doing like professionally. So I'm kind of talking to him about coming. He's like, hey, like, have you heard about commercial banking? I'm a financial analyst in the commercial bank. And he's like, hey, like, you ever heard of us? I'm like, I have no idea what that is, but I mean, sounds interesting. Like, check it out. He's like, okay, like, send me your resume, and then like I could send you the intern application portal. So he looks at my resume, says, hey, you know, go apply here. So I apply and whatnot, mind you. I think I applied at the beginning of October,
Okay.
and I found out that I got through that. Found out that I would be doing like a super day interview, which is like 3 30-minute interviews in one day.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
Okay.
like
Yeah, I ain't never did nothing like that.
straight hour and a half. And that
Oh, they
happened.
was back to back to back.
Yes,
Oh
same
wow.
day. That happened in January, mind you. Like I have no interview prep skills. I don't know nothing about what type of questions they're gonna ask me and whatnot. So like in that period, of me having a million classes, and I was doing interviews for like other things as well
Mm-hmm.
too. So it was kind of like trial by fire to me. Like I feel like it was good in a way that I didn't really realize how hard it was gonna be. So I kind of would just get the place and feel like, oh, like that's what I got to do.
Right. you was just
I
winging
was
it.
just rolling. Like mind you, I did have a couple like mock interviews and whatnot.
Right.
That also goes back to that financial statement analysis class. Like we would do stuff like that outside of just like our coursework, like preparation, like interview
Okay.
preps, and like he would make an assignment. Like with these professors you picking them, you have to do a mock interview with them, and that's an assignment.
Oh wow. Okay.
So like through doing that assignment, that kind of gave me some interview prep skills, and then you have like interview prep deck stuff to kind of go through, and that's kind of like all the practice that I had.
And
Like
then you was just walking in there like I'm here.
yeah, like literally, cause it was like a Zoom interview, and it was actually during winter break. It was
Okay.
in
Zoom ain't bad though.
yeah,
Yeah.
it
Zoom's
was a
not
Zoom
bad.
interview during winter break. It was in January, and so yeah, I went through the interview, two behavioral interviews, one technical interview. I had to do a case study, basically a stock pitch for Nike, like why or why not would I invest in Nike, and based off what rationale, whether it be like financial metrics or things in the news
Hmm.
or various like qualitative factors, like why would you invest in this company?
Right.
And so, in my opinion, I was always good at expressing like my interest in things, like why I'm here,
Hmm.
like what this means for me, like what what they ask in those behavioral type interview like when in the workplace has there been a problem, and what did you do to fix the problem, and and what type of effect did that have, like
Right.
things like that. I was real good because I had been through like quite a few things, so like answering like behavioral type questions was easy, and I feel like that's where I really shine yet. And on the technical part, that's why I would say that's where I had a lot of work to do, a lot of room. And I would like advocate for myself. I'm like, hey, like I'm still in like this is my second semester at university. Like I still have a lot of these classes that would have me know a lot of information. I still have like yet to take and whatnot.
Hmm.
And so I was able to do enough just because I paid attention to the news, and I'm a athlete all my life, and I love Nike. So
Right.
changes in Nike, who they're signing, what they're doing, what's gonna change in the company, like that was just stuff
It
that I
was simple. Yeah. It
naturally
was simple.
paid attention to. So yeah, I would say looking back on it, um, if I knew what I was in for, I'd probably consider it difficult. But just me being able to jump through and just to like go here and there when the time came, I was just blessed that things I've done in the past had kind of prepared me enough.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
So, going on the things that you've done in the past, can you talk about the importance of doing stuff outside of camp, like not off campus, but like activities outside of class on campus? Like, can you talk about the importance of that and how that helped you progress as a student and as a person?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I did quite a few things outside of campus. Like I got to help with like a lot of food drives. I got to help with doing food drives like specifically for our school.
Hmm.
I had been a part of food drives for like a local women's shelter.
Okay.
I was I'm trying to think of what the exact name was called, but it was this organization called FGI, and I believe it was for first generation investors.
Okay.
And it was this program that we did working with local Atlanta high schoolers, ages like 15 to 18, and we would teach them like financial literacy, like covering topics like financial planning, talking about different investment vehicles like ETF, mutual funds, and stocks. And you would get to teach kids about that, and we would get to see them do projects at the end talking about like a ETF or a mutual fund that they studied and that they wanted to really invest in, and listen to like why the reasons they wanted to do X, Y, and Z. And that was really cool because for one, you get to see like how much you really know about this stuff when you got to teach somebody else. And it's just fun to see that progression. Just in, kids like who really will look at you like, what are you talking about? Like when
No,
you're
hey,
teaching them about like these things, versus them like being comfortable enough to talk about it.
mm-hmm.
So that was one thing, and I also got to participate in like some campaigning for Reverend Raphael Warnock at the time, where he was campaigning to be, I believe he was campaigning to be governor.
I can't remember. I'm not from Georgia.
Yeah, it was either like a Senate seat or he was trying to be governor. Either one.
One of the two.
Yeah, but doing that, talking to people about because I'm not from Atlanta, so you
Mm-hmm.
get to talk to people about like local issues, like what the current administration is doing and what he wants to change and why it's important about what he wants to change, and just learning how even that whole process is and how that works on a local level. That's how I really learned like how important it is to really learn what's going on in your local government, because that directly affects you faster and more often than
Way more
than like
often.
our presidential elections and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Nah, for sure. So bouncing back to your internship,
Yeah.
what do you think you did during your internship, or what mannerisms do you believe that you displayed that set you apart from everybody else during your internship?
I feel like me, I was eager. I was just grateful to be there, because I was like, I'm doing these internships with kids whose parents are like CFOs of major companies,
Right.
huge business owners. Like these kids like don't feel like they need this for real, or like that's like their end all be all. Don't get me wrong, like not everybody was, but I was surprised because the vast majority of kids were like that. Like they just didn't necessarily appreciate it as much as me, and I feel like that showed because I was such a sponge. Like I felt like I was behind the ball on something, so anything learning I wanted to be a part of. Any experience that they had for me, I wanted to be a part of, and I was highly inquisitive, and I was number one, I was grateful, and I displayed a lot of the progress. You know, at week 2, I was good at this, that. I'm asking these type of questions, but at week 6, I'm able to do this. I don't ask these type of questions. I'm asking more in depth questions, higher level questions, more more conceptual questions instead of like, what is this?
Right. Right. Less base level stuff.
Yeah, and then with my internship, we had to do like a big ending project, kind of really displaying like a lot of the things that you have to be doing as like first year, second year hire like at this job, and I was able to do like a really good job, especially from going from not knowing anything about how this stuff works to really being able to speak about it in depth and defend my reasons for doing X, Y, and Z
Right.
with a lot of things, and I felt like that's really what set me apart is the way that I was able to learn, how inquisitive I was, and how quickly I was able to apply those things.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I feel like that goes for life in general. But so
If you could
with all
learn, you could do anything.
100%, 100%. But with all that being said, with all that hard work you put in, they offered you a full-time job.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's one of the craziest things I think about. Like, I went to college, well, to 4 year for 2 semesters, and before my senior year, I already had a job before I even walked back on campus for my senior year. Like,
Hmm. A lot of people were not in that position at all.
yeah, man.
Like, it's rare. And we're
And
in
I
a
didn't even realize like that was rare. Like when I tell you like me not knowing how like a lot of stuff, I didn't realize that was like a crazy thing. Like
yeah, bro. Like nobody had a job senior year. Like leaving senior year, everybody was like, I don't know what I'm finna do. I don't know what I got going on. I'm
yeah,
just finna apply to places and see
yeah.
what's going on. But you had a job. Like, so go through the emotions that you were feeling, knowing that you had like when you got the email that was like, we would like for you to return full time when you done graduating. What was the emotional process that you were going through?
Man, what? I swear, cause it was my last day of the internship. Uh, like everybody got told at a different time. Like some people found out like a week later. They called me like on the last day of the internship and let me know like, hey, like we're gonna offer you this at this amount, da da da. We're gonna send you, and I just remember like her saying like we're offering you like a full-time role, like I was just like floating. I was like, man, like I just like could not believe it. Like it was such like an honorable feeling, and in a way, it really was just like a testament of really the Lord, and really just like the role that played in my life. Like especially, I would say like I always believed in God. I always loved God. Like I grew up in the church and whatnot, but me going away, I would say that really made that relationship so much stronger because no, it's up to you to get up and pray and to read and seek the Lord and whatnot. And when
100%.
I really took that serious, really set away time and whatnot, like stuff just started going my way, going my way, going my way, going my way. And I would say when I got that job offer, that was probably over a year of me like really like praying every day. 1 Corinthians 4:10. That's the prayer of Jabez. It's the prayer of success. I prayed that every single day for like over a year, like more days than I can even count in a row. And you could literally look at it like my life started to really just progress, progress,
Mm-hmm.
progress. Like hit a higher level, hit a higher level, hit a higher level.
Do
Like
that for you.
that entire time. So it was really just like, man, like God got me like what I feel like I'm doing is right. It was really just such a fulfillment way that hey, like I'm going the right direction and I'm finna be able to do something like
No, 100%. That's good to hear. And then let's pivot to
yeah,
talking about your faith because it's a
yeah,
very big topic, and I really want to talk to you about it because you're one of the people who've brought me closer personally.
yeah. No,
So
I'm
it,
glad to
it
hear
play yeah, no, for sure. Like you and your mom, bro, like for real, brought me closer. Like your mom has talked to me, like caught me lacking a couple times just walking in the house, but,
that.
but like we,
Oh yeah,
but
she good with the sidebars.
yeah, get unskippable cut scenes. But
For
nah,
sure.
she really has brought me closer. So faith has played a huge role in your life. I just want to talk about ask you about a specific moment or period where you really outside of what you just talked about where you've really had to lean on God for guidance.
Dude, I lean on God for everything, bro. I lean on God for things as simple as, bro, as simple as doing good on my test, as simple as coming out of this class with a certain grade, as simple as like even just like safety, cause
Yeah.
going out in like Metro Atlanta in the South where like everybody have guns and stuff like that, like even like I'm doing stuff I know I'm not supposed to be doing, but I'm still asking. Like you feel me? But dude, it is everything, and I incorporate it into every part of my life. Like when it was sports, it was in my life. We prayed before everything big, any major decision I've ever made on my life. Even bro, I purchased a car a month ago. For a year straight, I've been researching and really asking like God, like is really the thing I should do? Like should I go like this? Should I really, even that like in every situation, every like major decision, like I have incorporated God, and I feel like that even needs to be more so. Cause sometimes I'll go to something like, dang, I ain't asked God to help me. Like, you know, like
You're
dang,
like,
I ain't need. That's like in my head.
ugh.
That's not really going for something as hard as I can if I don't ask God to help me
Right.
or like inquire Him about it. Like,
No, for sure. Okay.
cause let me say like in a way that like when you don't ask God to help you, you basically saying like you don't need God, like you can do it yourself.
Yeah, you always need them.
And you
Like,
feel me? So everything that's important, everything you feel me that's major, you should include God.
no, that's real. So what's okay? What's one lesson that you would like to share about faith with anybody who's going through a tough time or anybody who just needs a little word of encouragement to get by?
Yeah, yeah. I would say number one thing that's important about the Lord, you thank God at all times, and you truly have to see God really with your heart. Like when you ask God for things, you have to. It's really about the expectation. You have to expect it to happen.
Hmm.
You can't treat God like a genie. Like like I hope that. No, like you pray for this and you expect it to go this way. And there's also the work you put in behind things. Like don't Of course you can. You can ask God to help you do well on this test, but if you ain't even tried to study or look at the material a little bit,
Right. God ain't gonna do the work
what,
for you.
like you get what I'm saying? Like it's that, it's that, it's that constant relationship, and you have to thank God at all times. And I'll use myself as an example. When I've messed up, when things didn't go my way, when I didn't get chosen for certain things, when I didn't get chosen for certain scholarships or grants or whatnot, like I still thank God, because it's people that I met, it's other opportunities that, and me going for that you know I put myself around. And even not, let me backtrack. That's the number one thing. When things are going amazing, you thank God. When things aren't going your way, you thank God.
You have to.
You thank God at all times. And you have to have an expectation for when you ask some things. And it's about the consistency. You have to really have that in your heart that you want to grow with the Lord, that you want the Lord to be a part of your life, that you want His will to be the leader of your life. Like you have to, like you really have to do that soul searching and mean it from like the inside with your whole heart. That's really what it takes.
No, that's real. That is real. So now at this point in your life, do you feel like you've been at your job for a year and a half, almost 2 years now?
Yeah, today is March 28th, 2025.
Correct.
I've been employed at my job since July 26th, 2023.
So almost 2 years.
Yep.
Do you feel like this is all your hard work paid off, or do you feel like you still got a lot to do?
Oh no, definitely. Oh well, let me say in the short term, definitely a lot of the work, a
Here,
lot of the mental hours I put
here, let me
into.
rephrase that. Do you feel like this is just the beginning for you?
Oh yeah, bro. This is heavily the tip of the iceberg. Like what I'm doing now is definitely not the end all be all of Gerard. I feel like I kind of look at it as a maturity milestone. Like, hey, this is the level that you're capable of. This is this is you should continue to elevate your standards like in this way. And yeah, man, I feel like it's just the tip of the iceberg. And I wanted to be where I'm at to learn more about my field at a higher level. To kind of stuff that I don't get from my family, certain conversations that I would never be around.
Mm-hmm.
This is my opportunity to be around that in a huge way in a million different industries. And I want to use that to become my own man. And what I mean by my own man is like my own entrepreneur in a way that this is how you conduct business. This is how you use tax strategies. This is how you utilize financial institutions to do X, Y, and Z for you. This is how you network at a high level for when it's business. This is
Right.
how you call for capital, and call for capital is just another way to say this is how you seek out investors and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really just a tip of the iceberg to me. I just have to my next spot is to really figure out like, okay, do I want to go for like a graduate school type of thing, or like do I want to step out on my own to do X, Y, and Z? That's kind of like another like year and a half, 2 years away. But you gotta think about stuff early and often.
No,
So
in fact,
that's just
you gotta start planning. I
yeah,
mean, we both found out about the internship. Like we literally, there were kids freshman, sophomore year doing internships, and we was at community college,
yes,
not jagging off, but not doing internships.
exactly.
So yeah, you
Like
gotta
you didn't
get
even know. You don't
you,
know what you don't know. Like yeah,
you just don't know what's out there until you get out there. So now that we're out in the world, yeah, you gotta start planning for your future years ahead
as early as possible.
as early as possible.
Early as possible.
But you just started talking about it. What is Gerard's bigger vision? Like you say, you want to get into entrepreneurship
Yeah.
and different goals for your life. So what do you believe your bigger vision is, if you even have that vision yet?
Yeah, I would say it's still not complete. I still got some searching to do. I still got things to experience for me to really have that answer. But one thing, just kind of layman terms, ownership. Ownership in the way of real estate. Ownership in the way of buying and selling businesses. And really, I feel like I'm gonna get to a certain point to where I'm gonna be able to be that man to, go to like establish like children's programs, establish like college readiness types of things, establish even like scholarships. I really want to be a philanthropist. I want to be an angel investor. And an angel investor is just people that just deploy capital to certain initiatives that they like. Like for example, if there's a group of kids at Morehouse that have a startup company, I want to be able to say, hey, here's 200K to y'all cause, and
Right.
we could talk about returns and stuff 10 years later. Like
Right.
it's really for y'all to just like get
Just
things
figure it
going.
out. Just get people out the ground.
And that's what I truly want to be a part of. I want to truly be a difference maker in our neighborhood because I feel like there's still a big disconnect. We live in the suburbs. Like people aren't out here worrying about getting shot all day, but there's still a big disconnect into being, good humans. People that really contribute well to society. That still has to be cultivated in this area, and that's something that you can see, still see who we graduated with. Like it's still a lot of people falling by the wayside that really didn't need to fall by the wayside. There's people I feel like that were just as intellectually competent as you and me that ended up falling off here or there because they didn't have that exposure.
They didn't have, yeah.
And I really feel like that's the biggest difference between me and people that didn't achieve as much as I did. Is really that exposure factor. And I want to be that exposure as much as I can.
No, for sure. No, I appreciate that perspective because, like I said, like before you were at Morehouse, I wasn't even thinking about like any community, like any of that. Like I was just
Yeah.
kind of like me, worry
Yeah.
about worry about like my little cousins and whatnot. But yeah, you gotta. It really does take a community. Like for me and my brother, for example, like it wasn't just that like our parents were dropping us off here and there. Like friends' parents were picking us up from practice, taking us
Yeah.
to practice, like taking us to events and stuff like that. So it really does take a community to build up little boys and girls.
Shoot. Like, what do they say, bro? It takes the village to raise a child. Like,
Show does.
it truly does. It truly does. And I feel like just in this day and age, like, and you could like kind of blame technology with and things, but I feel like it's just like current culture where like people just really, really are really just concerned about themselves and like what they can do. You're really not concerned with the next man, or some people don't even realize like you should care about the next man and why that's
Right.
important.
It's
And caring about other people isn't always about other people. Like you helping somebody else in the turns builds you up. You helping this kid out, he goes on to do X, Y, and Z. Then you have somebody to help you down the line.
exactly, and it's
Like
like, at this point, it's not even like about getting anything in return. Like sometimes it's just the right thing to do.
exactly.
Like, and then most people are selfish though in today's age, unfortunately.
Yeah, Mike. But that's why we gotta reach down to the kids behind us because these kids younger than us, that's who gonna be the young ones when we old. And if you want positive communities when you're old man, you have to reach back and teach positive communities. You
No,
have to
one hundred
read and you
percent.
have to put that out to receive that. Like,
No,
and I think about who like my kids and communities. Like when I'm at work or I'm not around, like what type of people do I want my kids to be surrounded around? You
facts.
want that to be people with, you know, with right morals.
No, that's a good perspective. I haven't even like thought about it like that for real. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm not thinking about having no kids, but at some point I do. But yeah, I want them to be in a world where they don't got to worry about, you know, if they're gonna be able to go to college or if they're gonna be able to know how to do stuff and do certain things. I want to be able to give that to them and to be able to have other people like yourself or like Hakeem or Zach
Yeah.
to be able to help them do with the things that I can't teach them to do. Because I'm not the smartest thing, but there's gonna be somebody who knows how to do something.
Exactly. And bro, like I feel like the definition of smart is like I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of definitions to being smart. Cause I know people that are really smart that can get A's in the hardest math classes, but don't have the but have the worst common sense ever.
Right. Or can't change a tire.
Like you feel me? Like definition of smart is I feel like a lot of things.
No, it definitely is. But no, we actually are over on time.
No, for
So
sure.
I appreciate you coming by. Great conversation.
No, of course, man.
But this is the Mike on Mike podcast. I'm your host, Mike Robinson. This is my boy, my brother, Gerard Brownship. Hopefully we have him back on for another episode here in the future.
Please.
Yeah,
Man, what I'm trying to be a regular.
No, we could definitely make that happen. But we will see you guys on the next episode, and we appreciate y'all checking in with us.
Sir, all right, y'all.
Yes, sir.
Limitless, I might just cross dimensions. Lately, it's just been me against time. Lately, I can't seem to get things off my mind. Lately, I've been trying to make sense of all these